Hey, yo, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yehoshua, this is Chris, Holy Man FX. Let's get to it. So now, this is how I do. This is my simplified way of me exporting, we're converting stereo tracks to mono inside Reason, right? So for example, somebody send you some track outs. And as we see right here, these are the track outs. And they stereo. The vocals are stereo, and you want to convert these to mono. So now, what I would do, right? Let me show y'all what I would do. A lot of the times I would get all the mono tracks, and I get them, and I change them to one color, temporary for right now, so I can identify them, right? And then once I do that, I go to the mixer. I go to the rack. So as I can see them. Turn it around. Hold Control Alt, bring those down. And so what you got to do with each one of these, you got to hold Shift. Boom. You got to hold Shift like this. Boom. Do this one. Shift. Boom. Shift. Boom. Shift. Boom. Shift. Got to hold Shift and just use your mouse and bring it over like that. No, use your mouse, bring it over like this. Simple. That's all you got to do. Now, this can be a problem or annoying to people. Let's say somebody sent you 40 tracks, right? Mono tracks. And, you got to do each one of these one by one, 40, all the way to 40, right? Some people that bother, some people that don't. What'd be dope is that inside, like I said before in Reason, if you able to highlight all these tracks like this, and then when you hold Shift and grab one of these, it do it with all of those at the same time, simultaneously. That'd be mind blowing. That'd be one of the most dopest things I'm telling you that Reason can do. All right, so now let me turn around right quick. Let's say I got mono track. Let's say somebody sent me 60 tracks because the most I ever mixed was like 60 tracks. Let's say somebody sent you 60 tracks and the mono files, the stereo files is all scattered. You got the beat, you got the instruments, you got an audio file up here, you got an audio file down here, you got an audio file they all over the place. Two things you can do. You can either just grab them and kind of like organize them like this and kind of like move them, shift them up, and kind of bring them all together. One together all by one, and, bring it down here and, separate them from the beat, the stereo files, and then bring everything together that you want to be mono. You could do it that way and then color everything. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, what I do sometimes, if they scattered, I go right here, whatever its name at this moment, mono. I go to the next one, right here, mono. Whatever I do, I put mono on each one of them. So when I go to the rack and when I turn it around, I shorten this up though, but I can identify what's mono. You get what I'm saying? Like, so for example, let me go right here because these is long. Follow me right quick. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go to sequencer. So, because this won't even be in here. Like, because I shorten that up right quick. Name it, something like that. I'll shorten this up. Cause I'm gonna name everything anyway. Like once I convert everything, I'm gonna start naming everything properly anyway. So I can just kind of leave it mono or just have like the whatever name they use and just have it mono like that. Back again mono or just mono, right? So when I go to the rack and I turn it around, as you can see, it say mono. So now on the back of the rack, I know what I want to convert mono. So I go to each one of them and see, and then I change that and I do the same thing. Like this. I said, okay, that's mono. Go to the next one. Okay, that's mono right here. Go to that one. Boom. So now once I got those, right? So what's I do now? You just go to export bounce to bounce. See it say mono. It's easy for you to identify that and see what track you want to check. They are the same color. So technically, I'll be checking all those because I say, okay, I named them the same color. I color them the same color because I know that's what I want to bounce. So left to right, left to right locator, right? So let me go do this right quick. So let me go. So let me bring that all the way down here. Just give you an example. Boom. Go to export bounce, left to right. Then we're going to say new tracks in song. Mute originals. So once I export them back in there, they're going to mute. So, a lot of the times you want to keep it the same sample rate as the song. Or, whatever your sample rate is of that song at that moment. Let me see something right quick. That's audio files. Export tempo track. Okay. So sometimes you can go right here and then, change right here to 48, 24. You can export it back in here and then select that and then press mute tracks. Right. So now what option do you want to select? It gets kind of tricky. So you select, I think it's that one. When you select all except fader section, press OK. Let me make sure it's right. I think it's the right one. You're only going to do this one time. Once you convert them to mono, you already got your mono tracks and you good, But a lot of the times, let me tell you something. Some tracks look stereo, but it's still mono. But a lot of the times, I still want them to be mono, period. I want them to look mono, read as mono. That comes in handy when you're doing other stuff. It's a reason why. But yeah, sometimes, they stereo and can still be mono. Because they even on both sides. So as you see, these are mono now, right? So what I would do, I will highlight all these, the ones at stereo. I back them up. I get all these at stereo. I change them as another color. I'll always go to this one right here. I keep them back up. I grab all those, press M, and I mute those, right? And then I go right here and minimize these very small, like this. Just in case I mess something up, I still got the original stuff. So I get these, and I take these up to say where it say back audio. Back up, right? So now, once I do that and I got these, I'm going to go to the top, go down, hold shift, grab all those, and I'm going to go right here to select. I'm going to say sort. So it's going to organize, the way I'm looking at it, it's going to organize it on my mixer, and it's going to organize it in the rack, right? It's very important. So I go to the rack. Turn it around. As you see, I got the original track. It's got the, the beat track, and I got all the backups. So what I'm going to do, I'll close these. Get these out the way. This is my process before I start mixing anything, before I clean the tracks up. So as you see, I got this divider to keep it very organized, say backup audio. So I know that these are for backup. They stay right there. They don't affect anything. There's no effects or nothing on there. Just in case I mess something up right here, I can always go back to the original. Or you dealing with an artist who say, well, something was cut out and I don't hear it no more. And you got to go back to the original to hear it, because in Reason, like I say, you can't hide the tracks. So that's fine. When I go to the mixer, you see it as this, like this. Right. So now I know the color ones is what I'm dealing with. The color ones is what I'm mixing, A, B, C, and D. So it don't bother me that these are right here. They this color, I know simple that they won't play back. They're not in the way. I know that these I don't have to deal with, right? I just mix in these, right? So I start naming those and naming everything and the colors and organizing everything and start cleaning up the tracks. That's the whole process, man. So it's not hard like people think it is inside of Reason to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. It is a faster way when you're in a DAW like Studio One or other DAWs, because a lot of the times it's like, for example, in Studio One, you could just highlight all these tracks and hold shift, and then they have an icon on here that shows stereo, and you select that, and it'll turn all these tracks to mono. And then when it turn all these tracks to mono, you highlight all these tracks like this, and then you press Control B, and it's gonna bounce those the same way it bounced these right here. The only process in here is just when you go, the difference with Reason, that when you go to the rack, you gotta go to the rack, and you gotta turn around and you gotta rig them up, mono, like that, right? That's the only extra part. So I say that can be annoying to certain people if they mixing a lot of tracks. Like I say, the most I ever mixed was 60 tracks, man, you know. But you only got to do it one time, bro. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to keep converting stuff back and forth, converting things back to stereo, back to mono, back to stereo, back to mono. If you had to do that, then that'd be a fucking problem. Rigging all those up back to back and back to back, you know, bringing this down and open this up and bring that back to stereo and converting it back and forth. That'd be crazy, you know. So you only do this one time. But yeah, tell me what y'all think, man. This is Chris Holyman FX, man. Peace.